Hi Fundis, I'm Naiza. I am the merchant manager and I'm from the EBS department. I had one bad experience with the telecom service provider. I had a Wi-Fi set up with them and I had then moved residents. So I put through a cancellation. I did the whole cancellation process with them, only to find out a couple of years later when I was applying for something that they actually hadn't put through my cancellation. They just kept billing me, but not sending me any invoices. They have then blacklisted me or put me on ITC for not paying, but they did not put through the cancellation. I then had to go through this whole process of sending them the email thread, the cancellation email, the person that I spoke to. It got then escalated to Hello Peter. It got escalated to the upper management. So in turn, I actually just had to pay everything up to get it taken off my name. That for me was the worst customer experience I've ever had, because they had no solution. They didn't come with any meet me halfway situation. It was literally just, well, you either have to pay this to take it off your name, or just be that as it may. So that for me was the absolute worst customer experience, because it costed me money and time, and then also it costed me a really bad name. Um, I think for me, the best customer experience I ever had was when I had applied for my bond. I went through a real estate company. We did the paperwork, and I thought to myself, these people are really nice, but it could just also be that it's because we put in an application with them, or we're giving them money, so to say. But it turns out every day through that bond process, they phoned me every day. They checked in if there's anything else I needed to know, anything else that I needed from them. Even when there was no anything to do with the process, or they phoned me every single day to let me know how the process was going, if there's any other questions that I have. So even when there was no anything working on the application being done, they still phone to say, hi, this is what is being done, this is where we are now, every day from the time I actually signed the papers to the time they gave me my keys. So that was a really great experience. They kept me in the loop every single day. I didn't need to ask a question. I didn't need to wonder if something went wrong. And if something did go wrong, they were the first to phone me. I didn't have to phone them. It was a lengthy process, but it felt like it was in such a short space of time. But just because of the service that they gave me, I have then recommended them to, I think, maybe 6 of my friends, maybe. So that for me was really good customer experience.
Hi everyone, my name is Claudette Adolf. I am from the lending department, call center, sales, obviously. Um, so I'll start with bad because I think everybody remembers the bad first and then the good. So my bad customer experience was actually with my Wi-Fi. I moved houses and it took 17 days for them to install the Wi-Fi. So obviously from the 1st until the 17th, it was buying data all the time. So I don't have Dish. So we rely on Wi-Fi for Netflix and those types of things, and working from home makes it so much easier. So yeah, that was my bad customer experience. Two technical guys came, they couldn't fix it, and they came the next day and they couldn't fix it. So it took a very long time, and yeah, nobody was getting back to us to exactly tell us what was the issue. But eventually it got sorted, so that's my bad. So my good customer experience. Let me go internally. So internally, my good customer experience would be Stembile. Let me say customer service call center. Especially around crunch time, Stembile really pulled the weight. She really helped in. She was doing verifications and she was doing customer service and complaints, and just sorting out the mailboxes and complaints and those types of things. And even when I sent a query while she was doing verifications, she would get back to me. Whether it was the evening, whether it was the next day, she would get back to me. and she would make sure that she sorts that client out to the end. She would close that call, even if she had to phone the client to get information from that client, but she would always go the extra mile for our clients. So for me, being so busy and just, having someone to rely on to say, listen, here's a problem, sort it out, and give our clients good customer service as well as me. So that is my good customer service experience internally.
My name is Nombeko Matigane. I'm the finance team leader. I'm basically just going to share my worst customer experience as well as my good experience. Starting with the worst customer experience that I've had. At one time, I received an e-wallet, like from using one of the commercial banks. I won't mention the name. So what happened there, I didn't use the e-wallet immediately. Then I left it just sit there in my account. Then at some stage, when the need kicked in, I was like, I remember that I've got an e-wallet that I received. I was so desperate for the money. Then I'm like, let me just try and withdraw that money. I didn't come right. It said nothing existed. Then eventually I reached out to that bank. Then the confusion, the worst frustration that I experienced that day, the person that I spoke to seemed like he didn't understand the products that the bank is actually offering, because he said, no, you don't have the e-wallet service. I'm like, no, that can't be true. I mean, I've been using this facility for the longest time, and I mean, I've been with the bank for the longest time. I could tell that this person doesn't understand the products that the bank is offering. I was like, let me just hang the call, then I'll try and call again. Then I made another call, praying that I don't get the same consultant. Then the next one said to me, no, after a certain time, e-wallet expires. So then I was like, okay, now it's making sense. Then I reached out to the person that actually sent me the e-wallet, and they checked and confirmed that the money actually went back. The biggest frustration was that the consultant didn't understand the products the company is offering. Then I'll go to my very pleasant customer experience. You know, as Fundis, everyone out there is in need of our service. Then I came across with someone who was also very desperately in need of financial support. I mean, they had to register, registration was closing. Then I just said to them, I mean, we here, Fundi, we offer that service. Then I'm like, give me your number, I'll get someone from our sales department to give you a call. I mean, it's same day I sent the phone number to one consultant. I won't mention the name. Then that person called me like, okay, your people, because after all, it becomes your people, your company. Then I'm like, they called and I sent them my documents. It didn't take long, and I think the following day he got confirmation that the loan was approved. We were able to issue the confirmation slip. It was sent to the institution. That person was able to register. So that good customer service from our sales team was really wow, because after all, that person called me and said, thank you. It's still my brand. I represent Fundi as well. So they always like, your people, they really assisted me. I was able to register. Thank you so much. So that's basically it from me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kabonina Dlamini. I'm the Risk and Legal Compliance Manager. I looked after legal issues at Fundi. My worst customer experience, I think I'm going to start with that one, was one with the external service provider, one of the banks, where my account was defrauded of 11,000 rand, and they refused to pay, and I've been sent from pillar to post up until now. I went as far as closing that bank account. My good customer experience was obviously with my current company at Fundi, when my daughter was admitted at UP, and obviously I didn't have funds for her accommodation, and that was sorted within 24 hours, and we managed to pay the accommodation provider, and she stayed there for a year. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mohammed Musa. I'm in the IT support infrastructure space. I would just, on my side, for bad customer experience that we've experienced, well, I would say me and the IT team, but it's more of a common experience that we go through, is we find usually when any user, I mean, this would be any user, when they're under pressure, we'd obviously get the level of the way that people would speak to us in the IT department is, they want a quick delivery, a quick resolution, and it always comes to us with the manner in which they obviously speak to an individual in IT. But at the same time, we understand people's under pressure, and it's just the normal everyday today. We understand how people are, and we still try to deliver good customer experience, good service delivery, and we always try to improve. That's my take on a bad customer experience. On a good customer experience, I would say we obviously deal a lot with different departments. With us mainly is we deal with finance, purely because they do a lot of payments and purchase orders, and we know that people were going through a busy period, especially with the auditors being here, and through all of that, with all the pressure that they were on, they still managed to deliver exceptional service, give us purchase orders on time, make sure our vendors are paid on time. So I must say, from that point, they've been really on point, and they've given us very good customer service, and I thank you for that.
So I'm Kathy Shiosanka. I'm the Learning and Development Partner. My best customer experience has to be a stationery shop. So it's a particular stationery shop where I get my school textbooks from. And every year from the end of November to about January, this shop is inundated with parents and lists, and they just stationery lists, textbooks lists. So the shop is always geared up with temps and contract workers during this period. But when you go in there, and I normally do like an Excel spreadsheet, and I take a lot, and I check the school supplier, and I go in there with my list, and I get amazing customer service. Everyone is so ready to help. They take my list, they go check, if the book is available, if it's not, what the different prices are, and then they also call me back. So they tell me they're going to call me back, and they call me back to let me know that either they don't have the book or they'll get it for me. So I'm just so grateful for that. That's incredible. It takes a lot of pressure off me for school textbooks. The worst customer experience I've had, and I've had a few, but I think for me the top of mind is when I get the calls from like a telecommunications company, or in general, where they don't even ask you if you have 2 minutes to chat. They just get into their script and they're talking and they want to sell you something. And usually, if I have to leave a meeting, it's because I don't recognize the number. So I think, it's an emergency, or there's something happening with my kids. Let me just answer the call. And the person on the other side just won't let you go. And I feel like I don't want to be rude, but I'm also saying no, and I'm trying to be polite. And I don't put the phone down, but I try and say to them in like as many times as possible, no, thank you, I'm not interested. But that's my worst customer experiences. It's those telemarketers who call me and insist that I need a second quote, or I've spent too much money on my prepaid data, I owe airtime, I have to take a contract. And they always use this line that says, you don't want to save money. And I think, oh my gosh, those are the calls I don't enjoy.
Hi everyone, my name is Nomoya Sangweni from EBS department. I am a bursary support coordinator. The worst experience that I've ever had is when we were dealing with one of the sponsors, particularly a student that was given a hard time by the institution. So the student, we gave him the letter to go and register, a confirmation letter. But when he got there, the institution gave him a runaround to a point that the student had to camp at the institution for 5 days without any assistance or any help. So I had to come in as a coordinator, as someone who was assisting him from my part to resolve the issue, taking it up until to the SRC of the student, of the institution. So that was the worst experience that I had with that particular institution. The best experience that I've had, it was internally with one of the students who was struggling with the landlord. And at the end of the day, the landlord got to understand the side of the story from the student's perspective. So the student was so happy, was so ecstatic to a point that he gave me a call directly to my cell phone to thank me, to say, I've been struggling with this, but you came through and I am so, so happy. So I was also happy to say, at least I helped someone and someone was happy and got what he was looking for. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Elmarie Brett. I'm the Customer Support Manager and Operations Manager of EBS. And I would like to tell you about a good and a bad experience, customer experience. So earlier this year, I wanted to get a cell phone contract for my son, and we went to Westgate and we went to a particular provider. When we got there, there was like this particular branch had like benches where people sit on and tables in front of it. And there was, actually the people were lounging there. They were not sitting up straight. The tables were full of papers and stuff. And I was wondering, is this contracts that might end up, because people are looking at it. And also it was very dirty. It was just after lunch and there was fast food containers and stuff standing there, coffee cups on the table. So I was the second person in a queue, and we waited and waited, and there was just one person attending to people. And then after about 40 minutes, I said, excuse me, can I speak to the manager? And then the guy just told me, go there, which I did. And the manager pitched up after about 7 minutes. And I said to him, but I've been standing in this queue, the people are sitting there, they're not working. And he said, no, but they are not. They are from like other places like Nokia and Samsung and so on. So they are not part, they cannot issue contracts and so on. But it just gave a very, very bad impression. Obviously I left, and then I just walked over the corridor literally to another cell phone shop, another provider. And here immediately the people actually, when we walked in, they already asked, hi ma'am, what can we do for you? I said I wanted a new contract. They asked me if I have all the documents, gave me a number. They said, if you just wait a few minutes. The shop was exceptionally clean. There was no stuff on the tables, no food, coffee cups, everything. The table, it just made a very, very good impression. And then they helped me, and 30 minutes later we walked out there with a phone, and I was just so impressed. So the first people that we went to is actually, I've been with them for like 22 years. And so what I basically want to say, don't think that loyalty is going to keep a customer there if you give bad service, because that is what happened to me. I received bad service, and in an instant I went to the other service provider, and let me tell you, they are more expensive, but I will pay for that good service. I would like to stay there. I'm a customer for life there. And the other thing also is definitely first impressions counts, like how you present, how it looks, how your office looks. Is it tidy? Is it neat? Does it give an impression of professionalism? And that's my story. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Precious Lolwane. My best customer experience, it's with FUNDI, a department here in FUNDI, which is a finance department. So they always assist us with the payments and everything, even if they are busy with the auditors or if it's month end, they're busy with payments and stuff. But they always avail themselves to always assist us and make payments and stuff. Then with the worst customer experience I had was with my phone subscription. I needed to cancel my phone subscription, and I made a call to call center. They said they couldn't find my number and stuff. It was just a mess. I had to now go straight to the store and cancel the subscription from there. So thank you.
Sanbonani Dumelang, my name is Kutlwano Rabaji, and I'm from the product development team here at Fundi. So an example of a bad customer experience was actually something that happened internally, and it was due to a lack of capacity from a specific department internally. So we promised to send an external client some documentation on a certain date, and a few months after the promised date, we still hadn't received the documentation from the people that were supposed to send it. So as a result, that external client has now a negative perception of what working with Fundi is like. And because I didn't have any updates for that person, it caused me to keep making up stories every time I got calls from this person. So that was an example of a really bad customer experience on our side. Capacity issues. And an example of a great customer experience, I think, is also internal. So there was a time we were running a research program, and we needed to give these people that we interviewing incentives. So we had forgotten to organize those incentives, and last minute we needed to call someone from our EBS team to make sure that we loaded so we can give these people some airtime or data or any other incentive. So I had a fantastic customer experience from the lady in the EBS team. I don't want to mention her name, but she actually came to my rescue. I called her after hours, and she was more than happy to help. She actually made sure that everything was loaded on time. She was actually proactive because she asked me if these people would like an additional incentive that I didn't think of. So she came up with new ideas as well. So that's a great customer experience. For someone to be willing to help you even after hours and still do the job with a high level of quality is amazing for me. Thank you.
Hi Fundis, my name is Nonhlanhla Dlamini. I'm a receptionist. My best customer experience is when my medical aid decided that they're going to cover me on things that were not on my cover list for them, and then they even took it further to make sure that they give me transport to go to the hospital that they were supposed to send me to. And then the worst one was when when I was still working at some retail store, and then there's this client that was supposed to pay for her groceries, and unfortunately she didn't have money in all her cards. And then she decided, when I wanted to take the stuffs away from her, she decided to attack me physically. That was the worst thing that had happened to me with the customers. Thank you.
My name is Duncan Nwisi. I am responsible for the call center. So my best customer experience was a client recently who needed to register for UNISA. They were basically, getting into the last days of registration. In fact, registration was actually closing. But what was great was that the information that was needed to be given to them was given to them upfront. It was given to them on time. They knew exactly what they needed to do. The process was seamless. They were basically informed of what they needed to present to us in terms of what we required. And what was great about it was that the customer knew that they were already passed their accepted registration, but because they knew what was expected out of them and the information was given to them and updated to them. So even when the loan got approved, the customer still came back to us and said, I see the allocation is done, but I'm still not registered. We were able to actually, get the consultant at that branch to, give us the information of the course that the customer was studying for. And what we were able to do was basically just relay that back to UNISA. And the client was basically told, look, your registration was cancelled because you came in late. However, all you have to do, because money is reflected in your account, just basically go and re-register again, and then automatically the system will pick you up and register you. What was great about that was that the customers managed from the onset, was given the right information, and more importantly, the customer knew what to expect. And lo and behold, the customer basically graduated purely because we did all the information that needed to be done up front. I thought that was a great customer experience where we were able to enable a dream without actually, causing what we call issues along the way. That was the best customer experience. Now, the worst customer experience is an accommodation loan here at FUNDI. That accommodation loan here at FUNDI was the opposite of what I would say a great customer experience is. The customer wasn't given the right information and wasn't told that, the institution needs to be, accredited. And all it was, basically, they just submitted the information. The expectations of the customer were not managed. The customer wasn't informed. When the loan was approved, the customer still thought maybe it might, they can send their child off to go and stay at this residence. However, the customer wasn't informed that actually what they received was what we call a preliminary acceptance. So it's basically an SMS that says you've been, preliminarily approved. So the customer basically went and sent their daughter to Braamfontein to go stay at a specific residence. But that's that our internal processes was that we still had to accredit that institution. So you can imagine a parent who sent their child off to Gauteng from all the way from Northwest, and the child arrives here, and as far as they're concerned, they need to be staying at a specific place, but the loan is still not approved. So the issue with that was that the customer wasn't managed, expectations wasn't managed, the information wasn't given to them up front, and when the customer queried, they were not basically told exactly how the process is going to happen. So you ended up having a parent who had a child in another province where they have never been in, a child basically literally stranded. And that was a worst case scenario, because on that Friday, the student still was not having an accommodation. We eventually did fix the issue on Monday, but for that Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, we were not enabling dreams, we were enabling nightmares. The child had to basically beg on strangers to actually, find a place to stay. And that for me was a worst case scenario, because no parent wants to go through that where they don't know where their child is staying. And to me, that is the worst case and a bad customer experience. Thank you.
My name is Livingston Hlangalezwe Nkosi. I'm a facilities manager within the finance department. I just want to share my good experience with one of the stores where I had to purchase something for my wife because of someone sold the item very professionally, such that you won my heart. With the bad experience, it's when I was involved in an accident and then I processed a claim which was never approved at the later stage, while I knew very well that I'm up to date with my premiums, and then ultimately I was without a car for a longest time until I have to fix my own car. Thank you so much.
Hi everyone, my name is Zippa Kumalo. I'm in the lending department, I'm the credit manager. So the best customer experience I've had, in fact, rather, I should start with the bad customer experience because then it relates, it speaks to the good customer experience I've had. So in the past few years, I experienced a challenge where my identity was used fraudulently. And to my surprise, one day I got an SMS showing me that 3.2 had went off from my account, and it was for a cell phone loan. And when I went and inquired from the service provider, it turns out, yes, my details were used fraudulently. So the terrible customer experience I had was that I followed procedure in terms of what they had informed me what I need to do in order for the fraud case to be resolved. But unfortunately, it took as long as 2 years for it to be resolved, in spite of me having followed protocol and everything. And it actually took for me to get help from a colleague who knew someone that worked in that service provider. And to my surprise, the query was resolved in less than an hour. And it's something that took 2 years to be resolved. So it only got resolved because someone in a senior position gave an instruction to the department that was dealing with the fraud. Meanwhile, I suffered with this for 2 whole years, and it had a negative reflection on my credit profile. So relating to that same experience, the guys that were using my profile for using it fraudulently, they went to other banks to open up a bank account, because I had to close the previous bank account that I was using. So they went and opened up a savings account from another bank, and they were opening it online, because there was a time when banks introduced an online service where one could open up a bank online. You didn't need to go there physically. So to my surprise, this lady from that particular bank actually gave me a call and inquired if I'm the one who's actually intending on opening up a savings account, a check account. Then I said, no, it's not me. And when I asked from the lady what made her call this number instead of calling the new number that they were provided with on this online application, and she said to me, her instinct, or rather how she works, she prefers using old contact numbers that exist in profiles instead of using new contact numbers. And to me, that was breathtaking, because she had an instinct and she had a good eye for detail to think that it would be best if she uses an old profile just to check if whether or not it was the person who they say they are. And as it turns out, obviously, it wasn't me who was applying for that bank account. So for me, that was intriguing. And I'm just thinking, if she had not done that, it should have been another string of emails where I'd have to go up and down declaring that it's not me who opened up the account. Because now what these guys were doing, they didn't stop with just that one service provider. They went from one service provider to another. So them opening up an online bank account would have meant they would be able to use my profile continuously. So for me, I'll always remember that to be a great customer experience. I was not even that particular bank customer at that time, but at least that lady was not negligent to just process the application. And just the mere fact that I was not even a client, to me that meant a lot, because otherwise someone else would have just carried on. So I carry that with me till today. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Karen. I'm from the marketing department. I've been tasked with sharing a good and a bad experience, customer experience. So from a marketing perspective, we get to enjoy being part of the CSI initiatives. And the positive that comes from that is we get to see so many people's lives that we change. So the positive impact on us personally and professionally is like, there's no words for it. But the negative to that, so a bad customer experience for us would be we're out in the field and we get to meet different people. And some people don't have good feelings about FUNDI due to their experiences, and we get attacked the minute they know that we work for a company that gave them a bad customer experience. Thank you.